I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. I am so excited to bring this episode to you. I know I'm excited every time, but I'm always excited about it. So, anyway, this one is no exception. And this one also has a very cool surprise at the end. So I have Brent McGee on the show today. He is a 3D sculptural quilter. He's had his work hanging in SAQA events. He's had the QAQ, the Quilts Art Quilts at the Schweinfurth Arts Center. Yeah, I could go on and on. He just recently got his quilt juried into the Quilt Visions at the Visions Museum for Textile Art. So from October to January, you'll be able to see his Apollo and Python piece hanging there. Anyway, we just had such a grand time chatting and spilling the tea and finding out that we just have a lot of things in common, worldview kinds of things. And it was just really great to get to know Brent and to hear about his process and, the person behind the art, which is my favorite part of this quilt show, this podcast. And you'll hear Brent talk about his past as a musician. He played piano. He did piano bar, performing in New York City for a while. And at the end, he sings an original song that he wrote about working the night shift in the piano bar. So he says he worked from 9 p.m. until 4 a.m. and he would just be taking requests, playing, getting kind of praised and abused at the same time by the bar attendees. And so he sings his original song for us. The piano is a little choppy because Zoom likes to, whatever, but you can hear he sings it. It's beautiful. So stay all the way through the end so you can hear Brent sing The Night Shift, his original song for us. Feels like such an honor and like such a privilege. So thank you, Brent. Thank you for your time. And let's dive in. Hi, Brent. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, thrilled.
Yay. Well, um, I'm so stoked to talk about your quilts because they are truly incredible and your work just screams at me. I love it so much. But um we've never really talked before today. So I'm really actually so excited to
Mm-mm.
get to know you and know your sewing story. So how did you even get into quilting in the first place?
A lot of false starts. It
Mm.
was a lot of false starts. As a kid, crafty kid, and
Hmm.
then quickly discovered music. And so that's really been my life up until 2020. And we all know
Okay.
why.
Right. Right.
you know, so then 2020 happened. And at that point, I was playing piano bar in New York City. I had done Broadway gigs. I had done national tours as a music director. I had
Oh.
performed in musicals. That's like my whole other side of things.
Ah,
I'm sitting at a piano right now. I have my computer is on a music stand right now
oh
as
my
we
gosh.
speak. I don't go around making music. I can play for you later on this thing if you'd like.
Oh my gosh,
But I
yes.
don't play much anymore. 2020 happened, and like I said, the gig at the time was piano bar in New York City, gay piano bar, New York City. I don't know if you've heard of
Mm.
it, the Duplex. Just
Oh
like a
yeah. Hmm.
famous, it was like on Will and Grace, like
Yeah.
Jack performed at the Duplex. So I was there Tuesday night pianist, and I'd play other nights too. And the gig was from 9 p.m. till 7 a.m. or till, excuse me, 4 a.m. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't go home till 7 a.m. because I had to sober up before I could go anywhere.
Right.
It was a tough gig. It was seven
Yeah.
hours of singing and entertaining and taking criticism and taking requests and doing all that stuff. And then the pandemic happened and everything shut down. And despite the horror going on, I was definitely feeling relieved.
Mm. Yeah.
Relieved.
Yeah, I bet.
So my sister, Alyssa, I have two sisters, but my sister, Alyssa, she said, "Hey, you're creative." She was building a house. She was finishing building a house. And she said, "Could you make me something fabric? I see these textile things. I want something for my house textile."
Hmm.
And I was like, well, I have been watching Karen Brown and the etceteras. I have been
Yeah.
watching all of the quilt content, mostly just for watching them do it. And I said, okay, well, since you've asked, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make you a quilt. What's the prompt? She said, the Japanese garden in Seattle,
Oh,
where we
yeah.
had visited once and we really enjoyed it. And so I created um, a machine quilted like applique. It was like sort of Japanese inspired koi fish, very
Mm.
minimalistic muslin
Hmm.
with red, like koi fish, sort of abstracted. Great quilt, if I do say so myself. It
Yeah.
was matchstick quilting, so it had that kind of textile art
Hmm.
feel to it. And she liked it, not just, oh, my brother made it, liked it, but liked it.
Yeah.
Still on her wall. She commissioned me several more times. Her house is a padded cell at this point. I put so many pieces in there and explored different styles. So that's really how I got started finishing things
Hmm.
without my false starts
Yeah.
of, because you know how it is when you're new to it. It's like binding. I hadn't even thought to
Yeah.
binding. Oh, I have to quilt this thing now too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to start and not keep going.
Hmm.
But I made that first quilt for her in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was the start. And then the feeling that I had was I never want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was naive. I thought, okay, well, my sister wants this. Other people are going to want them too.
Mm.
So I just started making things, and guess what? They didn't. No, no one wants them. No one's buying them. That isn't
Yeah.
a viable path, at least when you're starting.
Right.
If you're looking to, I don't know what I was looking to do. I was looking to not ever have to be strapped to the piano again, I guess is
Hmm.
what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that I'm married and my husband has a great job,
Mm.
um, corporate job, and so that allows me to be a homemaker to us, our four dogs,
Hmm.
and be a full time artist.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's
Yeah.
such a nice, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So consuming all the quilty content, but not really seeing anything through to fruition. Do you feel like your sister's just yeah, you can make this? Like, do you feel like that was kind of like the push you needed to get to the finish line for a project like that?
Yes, deadline. I mean, she didn't give me a deadline,
Hmm.
but the carrot was she was going to hang it in her house. Design and decorating is really big for my family. My mom, my sister, huge thing. So to be asked to make a piece that she's actually going to put on her wall, I did sketches. So she knew what she was going to be getting. So
Right.
she proved it. But knowing that it was going to be on the wall, it's like going back to my theater days. You have an
Hmm.
opening night, and no matter what, you got to get there. That's the deadline. And
Yeah.
that really helps me.
Mm.
So I made the quilt in 2 weeks, took a bunch of pictures. She said, I like it. It's too white. What can you do?
Oh,
And I was like, girl,
uh,
it's done. She said, what about tea dye or something? So I did. I done threw it in a bathtub with a bunch of tea,
whoa.
completed, quilted, all of it. It came out so pretty. She was
Mm.
right. She was right. It just added a little touch of, I didn't leave it in long. It's just a little touch of something.
Yeah.
But that deadline, that carrot of knowing it was going to be on a wall, and she does
Yeah.
Airbnb, so I knew that
Hmm.
strangers were going to be coming through and seeing
Yes.
that.
Yes.
That performance side of me was like, okay, I've got a venue, I've got a stage. Let's go. Let's make
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do Airbnb too. And so my quilts are like all over the place, like
Mm-hmm.
in the room that we rent, out in the living room because we share that space with our renters. And uh, it's really to gas me up because I'm like, people are gonna see my quilts and they're gonna be like, you do all this, and it's inevitable every time. They're like, you're
Okay,
like,
I was going to
you
say, have you
made
gotten
this?
feedback?
Oh
Have you
yeah.
gotten feedback? Okay,
Oh
I
yeah.
love
They're
that.
always like, you made, I'm like, yeah, it's what I do. I try to, I'm like, oh, try to play humble. I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, I, yeah. Anyway, so I totally feel that because knowing that it's like making a quilt for yourself is cool, but then you're like, who do I show it to? Or whatever. But then when you get to make something so cool and know that lots of people are going to get to see it is like another level. It's really exciting. So
Totally.
that's I totally feel that. And I think when you do something like that that other people can't do or don't do, and they or like you did that with fabric, you're like, yes, it
That's
kind of,
I mean, that's my whole thing is
yeah,
I can't believe you're doing that with fabric.
yeah,
Like, I can't believe people aren't doing this with fabric.
yeah, truly. I, I grew up also very crafty. And so, always being around fabric and my mom sewing and seeing the possibilities of what can be done with fabric, I think quilting has never been like a mystery to me. I mean, there's some patterns I'm like, I don't ever want to attempt that because that looks really hard. And that's just my own self getting in my own way. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm always gleefully surprised, but also not surprised at the same time when I see people do incredible things with textiles. Cause I'm like, yeah, duh, of course you can do that. But like, I never thought that to do that, but like, of course you can, Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, for those of us who work in textiles, particularly quilting, there's a streak that I found with us. First of all, many of us come to it later as adults,
Hmm.
often in our late 30s, 40s, a time when we're more capable of sustained patience to do such art. And maybe something like painting or a drawing is it's too late, in a certain
I,
sense. But the thing about putting fabric together and needle and thread is it for those of us that it does, it really opens up our artistic third eye. It's like
mhm.
the way a pencil or a paintbrush couldn't,
Yeah,
scissors and needles and thread, it's like the sky is the limit for me. That's how you know you have found a medium that is resonating.
yeah. Oh, truly. Yeah, it's incredible. And I know that that medium exists differently for different people, but I think when people try quilting and they get into it, like you're saying, as an adult, I was in my 30s when I finally started. I kind of vaguely knew how to use a sewing machine. I've been super crafty. I did crochet. I did yarn craft. So I've been working in textile kind of art and stuff, but and like again watching my mom sew my whole life, she always would make stuff for me and I be part of the process because I would want very specific details, or like when she would make me clothing patterns, it was like nice to be able to tell her how I wanted things to fit and
Mm-hmm.
get things that actually fit. Ugh. Anyway, um and so I kind of had little bits and pieces of knowledge, but when I sat down and actually made a quilt, I was like, oh, holy shit. Okay. All right. I'm in. And my
Yes.
mom was like, oh, now you want to sew? I was like, yeah, Michelle, be glad. Okay. Cause
The
now you have
time
the,
has come.
yeah. I'm like,
You can't force the flower to bloom. It just does. Okay.
I was like, I have arrived. You will forever have a sewing buddy till the day one of us dies. Like, she's like, okay, fine with me. And so it's been great. But yeah, it's that kind of like, if it is your medium and it sings to you, there's nothing
Yes.
like it. There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
It's so cool. So when did you, okay, so were the fish, or were they more two-dimensional? Like, how
Yes,
did you
they were
go?
very stylized, very like a print, a
Okay.
block print kind of a look,
Okay.
applique, rough applique. And from there, first of all, I grew up, I wanted to be a mer person, uh,
Ooh. Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid hit right when I was that age.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so my
Oh my God.
first,
Sorry.
it was like straight to the vein, that
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, whatever.
100%. Oh
Uh,
my God. Yeah.
you
Yes.
know,
Uh-huh.
um, so I thought, if I'm going to make, my sister gave me a prompt. Two things I discovered. One, I need to come up, if I'm going to do my own thing, my own quilt, what am I going to make? Two,
Hmm.
I don't like using the machine.
Mm.
I found
Okay.
it loud. I'm very sensory. I
Hmm.
found it loud. It was just a little, Joanne Singer
Hmm.
$100 machine. I still use it for a zigzag. I've upgraded my machine, but I still use it for a zigzag every now and again if I need it.
Yeah.
But it was a war with that machine, and I
Mm.
didn't like the sound of it, and I didn't have a good tape. There was just so I thought, well, how do we really do this? Like, what did we do before all of this? Because my fantasy was, sitting in a dress and at my
Yes.
at my sewing with the fire going, none of these things. I don't wear dresses. I don't have a fireplace, but that's the fantasy.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the Amish quilters, and I discovered Joe Cunningham, who introduced all of us to those. Really have a lot of respect for him. He's another quilter musician.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just really wanted to do it the old way. And so I started doing these intricate applique coral reefs, which if you
Mm-hmm.
scroll way back into my Instagram, you can see that's where I started. And I did a whole YouTube channel devoted to those as well.
Yeah.
Quickly found out that YouTube, I'm sure is its own medium.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, I'm making YouTube videos, and it was literally my ideas were less about my art and more about how am I going to present. I gotta make something so I can figure out how to present. You know what I mean? So I kind of
Yeah.
stopped the YouTube channel after 6 months, realizing I don't really think I want to
Yeah.
pursue that. So I just started making a body of work with these coral reefs. Well,
Mm.
anyway, that was 3 years on my own, not showing anybody what I was up to, not connecting with any other quilters.
Oh, wow.
And then I found out in my local quilt guild. This is back when I lived in New York. I live in Washington now, but I lived in Westchester, outside the city, and Northern Star Quilt Guild. They were doing their yearly quilt show. 400 quilts, a pretty big
Yeah.
local show.
Yeah.
And I entered, and when I went to go drop off my quilt in person, um, they were like, "Oh, we were waiting for you to come," because I had sent pictures, on the
Yeah.
application.
Oh,
So they were waiting to see this coral reef, hand
yeah.
stitched, hand needle turn applique, done the old ways,
Yeah.
hand dyed, all of it. And it was like they were on me. These boomer ladies, in lack of a
Yeah.
better, these
Right.
boomer women, they were
Yeah.
on me. They were so excited to see me. And I've had won some awards and I've done some kind of cool things, but I can tell you that moment when
Mm.
other quilters embraced me and were like, "Who are you? Where did you come from? What is this? This is gorgeous." All the thoughts that I was like, they're going to look at this and go, the stitching's off, the this, the that. It was none of that. I got
Mm.
first place in the category, and I heard through a little bird that I was up for best in show, and then but didn't get it. I mean, the quilt that won definitely deserved. It was fabulous.
Sure, sure.
So, and from there, I was like, okay, I have my stage again, and this
Mm-hmm.
time it's communicating something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new way of communicating for me, a way that's not so direct, a way
Yeah.
that's more poetic, more so. The next year I came back, I thought, well, next year I'm going to get best in show. I need to do whatever I need to do. I'm competitive. I was a
Yeah.
gymnast when I was a kid,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then the music is very competitive. So I've always
It
been
is,
very
yeah.
competitive,
Okay.
which I think annoys people. I'm not competitive directly with people. Like I'm not mad when someone else wins, for instance. But
Right. But
I'm
it's
like,
like,
I want the ribbon that's tall and almost hits the floor. That should be me.
right. You're like, challenge accepted.
So I decided to make a three-dimensional reef. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided to do the Pacific Northwest, intertidal invertebrates.
Mm.
It was all these stuffed sea stars. It was like I was a kid again playing with my stuffed animals. I was stuffing sea stars and stuffing little tiny mussels and barnacles and appliquing them all onto this three-dimensional surface that I created with upholstery foam and all of that. And it was like, okay, this is something different.
Yeah.
It was all machine quilted and then hand appliqued on. So, it
Mm-hmm.
was like multiple techniques, very quilty. I thought these textures of the ocean and these creatures
Yeah.
is very quilty.
Yeah.
And something about the slowness with which they grow, that feels quilty to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I won best in show, but I entered four quilts. Four quilts all look like a different artist made them.
Yeah.
Each one looked like a different artist.
Ooh.
And I ended up winning first place in the categories they were in, every one of them. A National Association Certified Quilt Judges Award, Best Hand Quilting. I won all these awards that year. I came home,
Yeah.
flush, with these
Yeah.
awards. And Irene Roderick was the keynote speaker.
Oh, okay.
And I was standing by my quilt all day because I thought, I'm going to bask in this. This is rare.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
kind of positive affirmation is rare. Soak it up. Don't worry if people think you're being whatever. Go and
Yeah.
soak it up. So Irene Roderick comes over, and I knew who she was,
Hmm.
even though I was new. And, she got it instantly. She looked and she was like, this is obscene. Some of the ways that these sea stars are intertwining around each other. This is absolutely obscene. I love it. She got it. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, it's sensual, it's sexy, it's an
Yeah.
orgy of creatures. But
Yeah.
also kids can appreciate it. It's there.
Right.
It's she was understanding the poetry of why I wanted to do that, put those
Right.
creatures in that form. And I said, well, it's sad because I was going to enter this in Quilt National,
Hmm.
but they said you can't have it be shown in any other shows before you enter Quilt National. That's a rule. It's got to be a fresh piece.
Yeah.
And she said, well, not that you've asked, but if you want my advice, make something that's less representational.
Oh.
So I sat with that. Now, listen, I was a composer
Hmm.
I went to a conservatory of music and was in
Okay.
the composition program, pianist, all these things. And, you didn't write pretty music,
Right.
you didn't write music like that. You write music like, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's fine. I get it. Love it.
Sure.
Sounds great in a scary movie.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I'm a little turned off.
Right.
So I was like, I want my music to thread a certain needle. I want it to be beautiful, but also a little spicy and a little obtuse, a little whatever.
Yeah.
So when she said that, I was like right back in the conservatory being told, the
Yeah.
same kind of notes. Of course, her attitude is fabulous. She was really nice.
Right.
But in my heart, I was also like, but you know what, Brent, the quilts the art and quilts, whatever that I respond to
Yeah.
are often not representational.
Hmm.
And there was a part of me that was like, actually, these quilts could be the body of work that I never composed because
Mm.
the composing just, I could do it. I was good at it, but it wasn't my medium.
Right. Yeah.
I was a poser.
Sure. Sure.
So when she said that, I really started to think, okay, so she gave her talk and then I pulled her back over to my piece and I said, what would you do to abstract this? Because to me, these shapes are already abstract. Nature
Hmm.
itself feels like an abstraction.
Right.
She gave me some ideas. She said, well, maybe she said, it's the sea stars are taking me out. They're too what they are.
Oh, okay.
And so, she gave me some ideas. She said, and maybe don't make the piece go so far off the wall. It came like this far off the wall.
Hmm.
It's really
It's
a, a
yeah.
relief. It's a
Yeah.
relief piece, an
Right.
alto relief, a tall relief piece. Um, and I immediately started thinking, well, what if this was Drag Race? And it was
Hmm.
RuPaul and Michelle Visage were giving me feedback. They would say, push it further, go further off the wall. They wouldn't be telling me pull it back to make
Right.
it more palatable for, I don't know, someone's living room, perhaps.
Hmm.
So, I took the one piece of advice, which was you can be an artist, you can make non-represented, you're allowed. You don't have
Yeah.
to go to school to do that. You can do it right now.
Hmm.
But when she said, pull it back, I was like, well, that part I'm gonna show what we can do when we start stuffing the hell out of these things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
focusing on the texture of the quilting and not the piecing.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I have Irene Roderick. I tell you what, I felt a little certain kind of way, like, well, how dare she? But also, well, she was the keynote speaker and she's Irene Roderick. So
Hmm.
sometimes the messenger, it matters who the messenger is and not just the message itself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
So that
for
was a
sure.
pivotal moment. And I went home and started rethinking that piece. How would I redo it? So first I was like, oh, I'll make the legs even longer and twist them in different ways and I'll dye them a strange color. And it was like, oh, what color is that going to be? And
Hmm.
soon I did some experiments and it was still representational. It just looked like it was representing Mars instead of Earth.
Right.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
wasn't abstracted. It wasn't leaving enough room for the audience to put their own imagination into it.
Right. Yeah.
So then I just grabbed muslin fabric
Hmm.
and stripped it all away and started just stuffing and
Hmm.
making fabric manipulating. And I swear to God, it was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah. Feels
Within
like
the
channeling.
Yes, and within the day, it was like, oh God, these shapes make themselves. Within the day, I remember that day I received an email from a guild asking if I could come into a lecture and a workshop,
Oh.
and I didn't have a workshop, and I said yes,
Yeah.
3D whole cloth quilting, because I already knew just from that day of work I could go and teach someone else how to do this, and it'd actually be really valuable to quilters
Yeah.
thinking in a different way about how the fabric. So we worked so hard to get a flat
Right.
sandwich when we go to quilt.
Hmm.
And the rule is you don't want the puckers. I'm like, well, what happens when the puckers go off?
Yeah.
When we make the mistake the thing.
Right.
So that's really what it was about. And I did. I felt like I've discovered a new species
Mm.
and it's evolving before my very eyes. So every piece I make, I feel like I'm, the new evolution. We're seeing a new evolution of this thing, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, I love that. I think it can be hard too when you're like, you've just won all these awards and now you've got somebody telling you to like, maybe tone it down a little. You're like, girl.
I mean, that
Was
wasn't her tone, but
I
yes, I
know.
did feel
Yeah.
that way though, because
Yeah.
we're artists. We're
Right. Yeah. It's like all due respect. No,
And
thank you. Yeah.
I love Irene Roderick.
Yeah.
She
Oh
is
yeah.
fabulous. I
No shade.
love
No
her
shade.
quilt. It's not shade at all. She's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
If
No,
anyone
it's
has the right to do it, it's her.
yeah. It can just feel, especially I think too, it's like, and obviously her intentions were like lovely to help you, to guide you, and that's great. I think someone else's perspective though, if it's not aligning with yours, it can feel, it's like thank you, but I'm not going to take that. It's great, but like for somebody else. And I'm glad you didn't listen to her because I mean, maybe yes, in a sense, like you mostly use muslin now and
Yeah, I
there's
pulled the color back.
yeah, the color is because I think you're right. I think when even if you try to like take some identifying features away from something, if the colors are still there, or if there's something about it that is still too much like the thing that you're trying to make it not be, it's like, well, it's still that thing. It's just like, Salvador Dali style of it, or it's like,
Well, I'm glad you brought up the muslin and the color. It's the number one comment that I've gotten in
mm,
person from people who have seen the quilts
mhm.
at events, uh, art shows. So I haven't been doing the quilt shows as much,
Yeah,
and I'm focusing on the gallery venues, the Quilt National, QAQ, Art Quilt
yeah,
Elements, the sort of that suite of
yeah,
events that are made for us art quilters. And that feels really good.
yeah,
But I still get people, they come up to me and say, well, when are you going to start? They think I'm in a phase where I just haven't gotten to the color yet. Some of them, a lot of people totally get it. So I'm not talking
right,
about those people.
right,
I think some people are like, well, when are you going to color? And I'm like, honey, if you want to color, go get a coloring book.
yeah,
If you want,
like,
I'm not in, this isn't about color. It is about how the shadows
mm,
fall on these pieces. I'm
mhm,
trying to evoke classical statuary. I'm
mhm,
trying to evoke um, seriousness
mhm,
I'm trying to invoke contemplation. So now my view is when someone says, well, what color is this? I'm saying, well, I'm glad you're painting it with your imagination. That's exactly, you're supposed to be wondering what color it is. You're supposed to be wondering what the hell it is to begin with.
yeah,
Also,
yeah,
the muslin, look, I can source it locally. I live in a rural place.
okay,
And my local quilt shop, Annie's Quilt Shop, shout out Annie's Quilt Shop, love it. They have
yeah,
wool batting, which is my stock and trade for stuffing.
mm,
Love wool batting. Love hand sewing through it. Love stuffing with it because I can rip it into um, long strips and then I
yeah,
can stuff in long channels in
yeah,
one
okay,
go. And I use like plumber's tools, like those snakes that you stick down a
yeah.
drain. I use that to get into
Oh,
these
Okay.
far in places.
Okay.
And the muslin, okay, hear me out, is cheap.
Uh-huh.
And at Walmart, where I'm able to source, so that's
Mm-hmm.
where I am, they sell it in 120-inch wide.
Yeah.
And that means a piece like this, which is bigger than what you see on the screen, is a whole cloth quilt. I've done no cutting. There's no applique. It's one piece of fabric on
Yeah.
the top. And having those huge lengths of fabric and widths allows, it all gets
Yeah.
squished in. You to make a 4 foot wide piece, you need at least 12 feet of fabric
Right.
because it all gets scrunched in
Right.
through the stuffing and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm able to go source my materials in person. I don't have to go online to source my materials. I can go down to the quilt shop and get my batting. They don't have the extra wide unbleached muslin, so I go to Walmart for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I
I
I
keep it
think
simple. I keep
yeah.
the materials simple because if they're not, sometimes if I have a really nice fabric, I don't use it. I'm that
Right.
girl.
Yeah,
I'm that
same.
girl who is afraid of the fabric.
Yeah.
And I don't think using, a higher, I don't know, quality of fabric is going to make these pieces any, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hundred, and I'm with you, and I'm 100% there with you because I think when you know what works for what you're doing, and it's all about use, right? You're not putting this on a bed and washing it, and it's not going to get dragged around and used as a
Yeah,
normal quilt does.
exactly.
So it doesn't need to be anything but what it is. And if you found materials that work for you and a source that is makes it so that you can get what you need and you don't have to do all this crazy hoop jumping and rigmarole of trying to source things from, whatever. And it's like some people bulk at Walmart and I get it. They've never pretended to be anything but what they are, which is why I'm like, I can stomach that, but won't go to Target. It's fine. And
Yeah, I won't either.
but it's
Probably
like
shouldn't be going to Walmart, but I live where I
but
am.
that's
I
the
live where
thing
I
is like
do.
we do what we can in ways that we can, but it's like if that's where you can source the fabric that you need to make your art, then just do it. Like your one purchase of fabric is not the same as like I don't know. Anyway, I could go on forever
Yeah.
about that. But
And
here,
I think it's cool to take something humble like Walmart muslin, which by the
yeah,
way is the same muslin you're going to get in the other fabric shop. It's the same rock lock
exactly.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to be able to elevate something like that and to have
Yeah.
people go, oh, it isn't
Right.
just a trial piece. This is a finished.
Right.
I'm like, honey, people are making art out of bottle caps and plastic bags, and you want to read me for muslin? Get out of here.
Right. No, for
And I
sure.
love
Yeah.
bottle caps and plastic bags. Honey, I'm into all the materials. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what you do with them.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think there's a time and place for being choosy about your materials and you're being choosy. You're using the things that you have found work best for what you're trying to accomplish and that's all that matters. Like,
Yeah, and it can be experimental because I'm like, oh, if I waste 10 feet of this fabric, I feel bad for the earth, but I don't feel at a loss.
right.
I'm not rich.
It's not personally, yeah, it's not going to like personally damage your financial standing because you were like, wow, I really don't like what I did with that and it's kind of trash now, so that sucks. But I think to be alive, we have to consume things and to create art, things get consumed. But I think as long as we as artists are being as responsible as we can be, that's that's it. That's really, it's like just be mindful of what's happening and the indiscriminate waste or the indiscriminate fabric hoarding can get a little like make my eye twitch a little sometimes. Like I used to be a huge fabric hoarder, so I get it. And there's still collections I love, and I still have a ton of fabric that I haven't touched because I'm so scared to cut it up.
Yeah.
But I've stopped purchasing more. And if I buy fabric, I try to use it immediately for the thing that I've intended it for. And I only buy the fabric if I have an intended purpose for it. Because I'm like, I don't want to be sitting among unused materials. Like I want to be able to say, oh, I made these quilts. I want my family, to be able to say, I would like a quilt. And I could say, okay. Or if they're like, I really love this quilt you just made, can I have it? And I can be like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Generous.
I mean, it rarely happens. I'm like, I'll teach you how to quilt. And then they're like, no, thanks. I'm like, that's fine. Then you get what you get when you get it. And
Yeah.
No, it's fine. But you know, just that concept, like I'd rather have a finished thing to be able to give away or like on my deathbed be like, oh, I'm so glad I made all those quilts. So now my family has pieces of me to remember me by, kind of like that. I think that is what the thought that goes in my head. So anyway, all that to say, like if you're sourcing your materials from a place that makes sense and you're using materials that make sense for their use, period. That's it. The end.
Yes, totally. I'm not a shopper. I'm not that gay. I'm not that type of gay. Excuse me. I am that gay for sure, but I'm not that type of gay. I'm not a shopping
You're not a
gay.
shopper gay. Okay.
No, I'm not a print gay. If my stash as it is very small, it fits into one box
Ooh, nice.
because it's solids and it's mostly shades of green like this.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to it.
We love a
Because
chartreuse.
I love chartreuse, my favorite color.
Mine
So
too.
I don't know. I'm just not. I don't like it. I don't. It's too much choice. Maybe
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
Instagram is trying to tell me I'm autistic and ADHD all the time.
Mine too.
I've never been to a therapist or a doctor for that or anything like that. And I would embrace it, if it was true.
Sure.
And maybe it is something like that where it's like, you know, for me, I with when it comes to color and my own creation, I love other people. I love seeing. I'm always amazed by people working with color
Hmm.
because I'm not. I don't have ideas about color
Mm.
now. Maybe I will.
Sure. Who
At
knows?
the moment, I don't have ideas about color, and it stresses me out, and it makes me stop.
Right.
I
So why do it?
so why when I can create these fantasies,
Hmm.
why do it in red? I mean,
Right.
the
But
other thing
can,
about it is it's a basal material,
hmm,
like stone.
right.
And
Yeah.
I'm quilting. I'm sculpting. So
Hmm.
it's that. It's like this is my marble.
Yeah. 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 I was
This
gonna
is
say
my marble.
it has a very marble visual impact to it. So I think, yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it's like you grab muslin to make a toile or to make a mock-up of something. It's the base. It's the you know, a lot of times people use it as a base for like string block quilts or
Yep.
you know, just like foundation paper piece almost. Sometimes I've seen people
Totally.
instead
Yep.
of papers on the back, they've now got this like backed, it's
That's
on
how I do
muslin.
log cabins.
Yeah.
I quilt them as I go by
Yeah.
doing them onto a base of fabric.
Yeah, yeah. And so if you think of that as like a foundation and stone is very foundational. Yeah, that concept I think is with the sculptural nature, the three-dimensional nature of your quilts, of your pieces. And I just love all that. And I really was thinking about that. Like I was like, this is the same as if you just, you know, took a slab of stone and carved into it and sculpted it into something. And I love the kind of organic like flow of your pieces because I
Thank
think
you.
we fight as quilters, we're constantly fighting the natural flow of fabric. We are starching the shit out of it. We're ironing it, we're pressing it, we're manipulating it, we're getting pissed when things are off grain just slightly because it makes everything, it's like there is so much attention and time and effort put into fighting the natural flow of the fabric that seeing something that just goes with it is like, oh, whoa. Like, of course, that's what the fabric did because it's what it wants to do.
Thank
And
you. It's a documentation of
mhm,
what this fabric is capable of doing that maybe you
mhm,
hadn't thought of.
yeah, yeah. And it's, as a quilter, it's incredibly infuriating when a piece of fabric won't lay flat or straight or, you know, so I should say in traditional, like two-dimensional quilting.
Well, as
It's
a hand quilter, I know all about
yeah,
getting and doing the applique. It was like, man, I really should have cut this piece in a different angle than
right?
I did because this
Yeah.
is not working out for me the way I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It
in
can
this
just,
realm, I don't plan what's gonna happen in the pieces. I just pick a dimension and sort of go
yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
And then I start seeing things. So contemplation is a huge, it's the biggest aspect of how I work.
Mm,
So I'll work for an hour
mm-hmm.
and I'll get, a section this big sewn down just to get me started and with a little stuffing and see if
Yeah.
there's anything in there. It's like, and then from there, I grab the pins and I start pinning the hell out of it to start creating. And
Yeah.
it changes as it goes. And then it's like, oh, this is looking like this or this is looking like that. And so I can lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it sounds woo woo, but the pieces they do, they make themselves and then they tell me what they are. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're often spiritual in nature. Yeah, I mean, I'm an atheist. Well, I guess more of an agnostic. I leave room for all the mysteries
Right.
of life, but I guess I don't believe in a God particularly.
Yeah.
But my work has a spiritual component. I'm working with mythical themes because I feel like those are pulsing through our veins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with
The
you.
gods and things don't have to be real for their impact to pulse through
Mm-hmm.
everything we do. And I guess I'm trying to trigger those ancestral memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I
I
don't
think,
have it. These are my ancestral memories. I'm a white guy.
yeah.
These I don't have I don't, I'm like, what are my ancestral memories?
I'm super white too, so
I have to make them up. I'm not trying to
yeah.
complain white, I'm not saying, oh, I wish I
Mhm.
was Native American or something like that.
Right.
Although I think many of us do sometimes envy having a culture that feels less
Stolen?
abrasive to the world,
Oh
stolen,
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Truly, yeah. Yeah.
So like
It's
that sculpture that I've shown glimpses of, the hanging sculpture, that's called asleep in the tree of knowledge,
mm,
and I'm referencing Adam and Eve
mm-hmm,
and the serpent because to me these serpents keep appearing in my work,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it's because they're tubes. And what is a serpent but a tube?
Right.
And I'm like, this piece is speaking to me. This piece is saying that it's the snake in the tree and that tree is the knowledge of good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be woo woo, but the snake says to Eve, well, God told Eve that she'll die if she eats. Don't, whatever you do, don't eat of that tree because she'll die, is what God says in the Bible.
Right.
And the snake says, oh, you're not going to die. You're going to learn, you're going to be like God because you're going to learn the knowledge of good and evil. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens when she eats the fruit. She learns to be like God. She learns what's right and what's wrong. And then she
Mm-hmm.
makes Adam do it too. And then they get kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And to me, it's like the Garden of Eden was just the level before you actually have to go out and play the real game.
Mm-hmm.
It's mama's womb. The Garden of Eden is a womb. All of your needs are met.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't have to worry about anything in there. You also
Right.
can't go anywhere. You're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no
And
individuality in there.
yes, and then you get
Yeah.
kicked out naked
Yeah.
and screaming into the world. To me, that's what the piece was saying to me. I was like, this is a piece, this is a biblical piece.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to take some of that back from the people who are using it in a bad way. Like
Mm-hmm.
we can think about the Garden of Eden not as a tale of the fall of women or mankind or something like that.
Right.
That's wild. That's not what it means at all.
Right. No.
It's about, to me, the curiosity of humanity.
Yeah. It feels like it was the Garden of Eden was just an experiment amongst everything else that was going on and like I don't want to be trapped in paradise forever. Like it seems nice, but if you've ever seen like any movie or any storyline or whatever of people who are in that scenario, it's like you get bored, it's like our humans are innately curious. It's how we learn, it's how we grow, it's how we explore our surroundings and who we are and other people and staying kind of stuck and idle in a perfect little bubble or a box means that we don't ever get the full experience of existing. And I grew up pretty religious, so like I had those Bible stories shoved down my throat, and it was really always used to be like women are evil, so
Yeah.
get your
Yeah.
vagina away from me, you're
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, I was raised with that too, not so intensely. It sounds
Yeah,
like you maybe were, but yeah,
yeah,
same thing. I never considered that the snake in the garden wasn't the devil, because he's
yeah,
not, or
right,
it's not.
yeah,
It's just a snake.
right,
It really is. It actually
yeah,
wasn't a snake, it was a serpent and then turned into a snake. It's also the origin story of snakes,
right,
like people.
yeah,
You know, when the symbolicism, some whatever that word is, starts coming out, it's
hmm,
like, oh, my third eye is opening.
yeah, yeah. There's so much there,
And this is from my own white tradition.
right,
It's been so bastardized by assholes. How
yeah.
about that for a hot take? That I'm like,
No, I'm with you. I'm super with you. Like it's so crazy like how much my life opened up this the moment I was like, I'm actually done with this. I and I don't think you have to be attached to any sort of religion at all whatsoever to lean into the spiritual nature of just being a human. Like I don't think it requires a god or any particular higher power. I just think as humans on this planet that sustains our life, there is an interconnectedness with each other, with the planet itself, with all the living things around us. And if we ignore it as a species, and so look what's happening. We have climate change, we have the domination of capitalism that is literally killing people because it favors wealth over health, and it creates an environment in which we compete with each other in a negative way
mhm,
because we're trying to get ours and make sure nobody gets what we think we deserve, and instead of helping each other up, we're just constantly fighting against each other as humans. And so it's like all these negative things came out of the hierarchical nature of religion, and that's not spirituality. The most spiritually connected people I've ever met in my life are the most loving, caring, artistic, creative people who like have great boundaries but also are very connected and very well spoken about and very well loved in the community that they've built around them. And so, I mean, I think any way we can tap into our own spirituality as humans, whether that's through finding an artistic medium and making really cool things, or music, or whatever it is, communing with people, cooking, like there's so many different ways you could go about it. But
totally.
it's like when you find it and it's like I said, when it sings to you, it's like,
Mm.
oh, there it is. Thank you. Finally, it's
Yes. And
kind of
these
like coming
pieces,
home feeling.
yes. And these pieces, they don't, there is a moment when the spirit enters the room.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, they're not ready. Oh, people are not ready. They're not ready for this.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
getting ready to have it. Oh, they're getting ready to have their mind blown by this. Now,
Hmm.
that isn't what usually happens. But that's the feeling, that's when you're there, is when you're like, oh, ooh. When
Yeah.
can I share this? Ooh, don't share it yet.
Hmm.
I like to
Hmm.
sort of, I do this toxic thing where I like to, I like to finish a piece and
Hmm.
not share it right away. Try to get it into something, get it into a show, get it sort of legitimized by some institutional something or other.
Sure.
Um, and I recognize that's a little toxic, but at the same time, it's that deadline.
Hmm.
And I'm literally thinking, okay, now I've been to the venues where these things occur.
Hmm.
I'm literally picturing, oh, what if it was on that wall, or what if it was hanging in that corner there? It's
Hmm.
like the rooms itself, these galleries themselves are the stage. And I'm like,
Right.
what can I put on? Well, I'm the set designer now of
Yeah.
this gallery. So
Hmm.
that helps me a lot. And when the spirit enters the room, it does say, show me to the world.
Yeah.
I would love to get a commission from a church.
Mm.
I would
Hmm.
love to make a biblical. I mean, I'm already making biblical pieces.
Right. Right.
I mean, the church would matter which one, but I would love to make a liturgical piece of art. No
Yeah.
belief in God.
Right.
but I wouldn't mind helping people in there. Uh,
Right.
give, I think, when I walk into Catholic churches, cathedrals, things like that, art buildings is really what they are. I
Truly.
believe. I don't believe in what they're selling, but I believe in the weight of it all. And I believe in the great mystery. When you see
Yeah.
the statues, the Michelangelo and Bernini,
Hmm.
the white marble
Yeah. It's
does
stunning.
something to me. It shakes me up. I
Yeah.
feel the life in the stone, and I'm like, God
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah. I will tell you this like I guess it's been 4 years now. Jesus. Anyway, 4 years ago, my husband and I went to Barcelona for our 10th anniversary. He had never been to Spain and I had been in high school and I loved it, was obsessed, but I didn't get to go to Barcelona. I was like, we're going to go to La Sagrada Familia. We're going to see this thing.
Mm,
I cannot tell you, like, because again, I'm not like religious. I was never Catholic, but I was like, I'm not going for that reason. I know a lot of people go for that reason, but I was like, I just want to see this art. Like, it's been in the works for 100 years and they're still not done. But anyway, we walked up to it. And as we were walking through the doors, and like you're walking, mind you, through these like 20-foot tall archways into this giant
yes,
cathedral, and it's the entire like area around the door up above it and on the sides of it, it's all sculpture, like tiny minute details, and you have to really look at it. And I just burst into tears. Like there was it was just immediate.
that's the
Like
power.
it wasn't like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. It was just like ripped out of me. And my husband was like, whoa, are you okay? I was like, I don't know. What the heck? And just
Cool.
inside, the tall, the
The spires and everything.
yeah, oh my God. And they just this year finished the Jesus spire in the center of it.
I
So,
just saw an Instagram and they put this lamb, this
mhm,
diamond encrusted, crystal
mhm.
encrusted lamb. I loved it.
Oh
Oh my
my gosh.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was just incredible, but it's just like that yeah, it was the art and knowing that. I think too, for me at least, like knowing that it's the people that have kept the project alive, because the country's not paying for it, Spain's not paying for it, but the people are keeping it alive. They're the
they
ones.
see what it is. They
Right.
understand. Oh, he's going for that melted can. We all relate to the melted candle wax, and we've all been taken in by a candle,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Especially in a building like that.
Right.
That's I love it. Oh, I've never
Yeah.
been, but I'm gonna
Oh,
go one day.
you uh, I feel like if anything, it's just going to inspire you even more, because there's just so much, and I think that's where the beauty in all of it lies, is so much of it feels natural, even though it's carved out of stone, different materials,
Uh,
glass, eh, metal obviously, but like just the rainbow array of stained glass throughout the main cathedral, and getting to
full
go
body
up,
chills.
yeah, getting to go up in the spire, because you can go up into a couple of the different spires and
Mm,
see out. It's scary as hell, but we did it. And they have like these big like sculptured fruits outside of it, like on the
okay,
outside, that are the fruits of the spirit kind of thing, and so you can like
sure.
actually see them closer when you're up in those spires. Anyway, it was just incredible, and it felt magical, and not like religious, but just very deeply spiritual and very deeply like connected, because of the past and the history of it. And for some it is deeply religious, and I respect that immensely, because I know
Yeah, me
that
too.
that's what people need. But just the depth of the truth of humanity is there, the beautiful art, the care that has gone into making sure that it is seen through to fruition, the way that people love it because of what it is and what it means to them. And I'm so grateful that they've preserved the history of like it burned down and they had to start over and all these things. And they've got
Right.
all these original models that were made and just all this stuff that is just like, no, this is a visceral human endeavor. And I feel like when we lean into the spiritual feeling, like you're saying, when spirit enters the room, it's like, okay, you're on the right track. It's like something happens and you enter this flow state and everything makes
Yes.
sense all of a sudden. And it's like, why would you ignore that or deny that? You don't have to put a name to it. You can just accept that that's part of being a human being, tapping into your natural curiosity and creativity. Ugh, I'm getting
Yeah.
chills. Ah,
I
I
know
love
that's
it
the
so
kind of
much.
that's the line of art that I'm working down that path.
Yeah.
I'm down that uh spiritual mystical path. I got a comment recently on the video I posted, and she said that the looking at these pieces is moving me to feel mysticism.
Hmm.
And that was just through the screen. I thought, oh yes, it's
Yeah.
happening. Another
Yeah.
woman said, it's giving it should be at the Smithsonian. I'm like, yes, fossils.
Hmm.
We're
Yes.
evoking the ancient. We are
Yeah.
evoking things. You know what I mean? I'm going down
Yes.
that line.
Yes.
Other piecing, to get back to quilting proper,
Sure, sure, sure.
piecing is like, I don't do it. I don't
Hmm.
want to do it. I love it. I love looking at other people because since I don't do it, I really have an appreciation and I don't feel competitive with the piecers. In
Right.
fact, I don't feel competitive with anybody. I don't feel like I'm sort of on an island myself right now
Right.
with this, what I'm doing. And so I'm really able to enjoy what the other quilters are doing without
Hmm.
feeling like I have to be better than that
Yeah.
because I'm not being judged with
Yeah.
piecers.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just not,
Yeah.
you
Which
know?
is its own kind of gift because I think having, experienced traditional quilt shows, it is like there's an we're all cheering for each other, but then there is this kind of air of competitiveness. Like, I can't believe that quilt won an award. It's like, well, it
I've said
did.
it.
So
I've said
get
it.
over it. I
I've
know.
said
I've
it.
said it too. I've said it too.
I've
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm
said it recently.
owning up. Like, I don't see it. It's not for me to see. Okay. I understand that. I
Yeah.
get it. It's fine. And that's fine. And not every quilt is for every person.
Have you
But
ever judged?
I have never judged, but I've been a scribe for the judging at
Okay.
my local guild's show, which is actually kind of a cool show. I do appreciate it. And
Maybe I should drive out there. It's not that far away.
come visit me. I have an
Yeah,
Airbnb.
I
You can
could.
stay in my
I would love
house.
it. I love
Oh my God.
it.
Please, seriously. Our quilt show's at the end of September. And
Okay.
if anybody's listening out there, and you included, we take submissions until I think your submissions have to be in by August 21st, I believe, 20th or
Okay.
21st.
Maybe I'll submit something.
Yeah, I'll give you the information. It's the Boise Basin Quilters Guild, and it's our quilt show. Anyway, I really love our quilt show. It's really great. But
So
anyway,
you were in the room.
so I've been in the room several times scribing for the judging. So I've heard the conversations and I've seen the process they go through. And sometimes I totally wholeheartedly agree with them. And sometimes I wish I could be like, no, 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 that's not, no, no, no. Because I think that's a tricky part of judging too, is unless you are very well read and are up on the current things within the quilt world, especially it always gets touch and go in the modern category. And
Sure.
they tried to not disqualify, they tried to, yeah, I guess disqualify one of a quilt that someone submitted in the modern category because they thought there wasn't enough like
Modernity.
negative space,
Oh,
which
negative. Well,
I
that's
thought
not
was
what modern means, but okay.
I know. But they were so stuck. Well, modern means negative space. And we were like, no, we actually pull our category description from the Modern Quilt Guild,
Hmm.
and it can be maximalism or minimal. Like, it's too vague in my opinion to really
Sure.
have a full.
Is it the same? Does modern mean contemporary?
I don't know. That's the thing, is there's no
This is what
there's
happens at QuiltCon every year. Is there's always a
exactly.
debate: is this a modern quilt or is this a contemporary
Exactly.
art quilt?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's where it can get in the weeds. And some people were so like they had a discussion about this quilt kind of towards the end, and the quilter was in the room because she was always would help out, with quilt. They call them quilt wranglers. So they would be the ones to bring the categories stacks over to the tables, whatever. Anyway,
Hmm.
so she's hearing this discussion about her quilt that she is very dead set is a modern quilt. And to me, it was a ring of elongated hexagons, and they
Okay.
were all different tulip pink fabrics, and then the whole background was white, but she meticulously custom free motion long armed every inch of that quilt. Every hexagon
Sounds
had its
wonderful.
own, yeah, anyway, so they were just this back and forth, back and forth. So it's just been such an interesting to be kind of like a fly on the wall, because when I'm scribing, I cannot make a face, I can't gasp, I can't, I just have to be stony faced and just type what
Right.
they say. Ooh, that's hard
Ooh.
for me. That's hard for me because I am, in the
Did it
words of
make
my
you
family,
not want to be a
dramatic.
judge? Did it make you
Yeah.
not want to be a judge?
It made me not want to be a judge. It made me not ever want to put my quilt in a show. Um, I know. I was like, I don't need people talking about me like this. This is
Oh, that's
crazy.
funny.
You don't know me. Here's
I
the
would
thing
feel,
though.
yeah. This is why I don't want to be anywhere near the judges because I would be
Right.
the same. I would be like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Right. Well, and I think it's hard too because unless they are given so little information about the quilt itself and they don't know your intention behind your quilt. So
That's
they're
right.
just going in with their own lenses, their own perspectives on the quilt world, and they're guessing. So unless you title it something very specific, like there was a temperature quilt and everybody in the world knew it was a temperature quilt, but for some
Yeah,
reason these judges were not
they
picking
weren't
it up.
putting it together.
They're just
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I just don't, because the person didn't say temperature quilt 2023 or whatever it was. Like
right.
they named it something completely different. And I was like, oh, so I will say that, like, unless you have to be intentional about what you name your quilt, because that is the only information besides the techniques that you used that they get about your
Yes,
quilt. They don't,
for those kinds of things, yeah, they don't see
yeah,
your artist statement necessarily because
nope,
that could be a giveaway to who you are and their the
yeah,
anonymity. They don't
yeah.
do that so much in the art quilt.
I was
Your,
gonna say, is it
your
different?
statement is a part of how they're judging it. They
Okay,
don't know your name, but they know your statement. And
okay,
is there really any anonymity in this very small world of contemporary art quilting? You can tell a Betty Busby quilt when you see one. You can tell an
right,
Irene Roderick quilt when you see one.
right,
You can tell at first you could tell my quilts. I can
right.
recognize Carl's quilts. Do we have anonymity?
No.
Do we really need it? Maybe, I don't know.
I guess I understand that the it's there for the fairness and like, oh, if this person knows the name, then they're going to want to give it more accolades, or they're going to want to give things, oh, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt instead of being actually objective and critical where it needs to be. But I'm also, again, of the mind that like we're creating art. Why are we competing with each other? Why are we creating an environment of lack, of scarcity, when it's absolutely unnecessary, wildly unnecessary in the world of quilting and textiles to say, well, my quilt is better than your quilt. Okay, by
These
all
things are being
means.
judged by two and three people.
Exactly.
It's subjective. It's an honor. It's
Mhm.
always an honor to be picked by your
Right.
peers. Um, I have a lot of respect for, first of all, the certified quilt judges because they really go through it to do that.
They
I have a
do.
lot of respect for that.
They
And I have
do.
a lot of respect for these people, for these established artists who
Yeah.
are the judges for these things.
Right.
They, that's a hard job.
Right.
Those are humans. I'm never mad at
Mhm.
whatever choices
No.
they make.
Right.
I never take it. I don't think conspiratorially
Mm.
about it either because I
Yeah.
just know, I think we can sometimes like if like I didn't get into something recently and I thought, well, they're just not into what I do. And
Hmm.
it's like, well, that might be true, but it all just might be that's just not what they were doing for this show or whatever
Right.
it is. It's like you gotta water off a duck's back and keep going. These are just human beings giving
Right.
their opinion.
Right. Exactly.
It also means if you win, you can't stake your entire self-esteem on it.
Exactly. Right.
No,
And I
just
think
three people.
yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's like, three or four people maximum that are giving these awards and making these comments and these statements about your piece. And it's like, okay, that's just a handful of people.
Um,
And like, if, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you don't like what you're making, then it's not worth it, because any accolades you get, any awards you get, it's not going to matter because you're not going to want to continue. Or if it's not fulfilling you just because you want to do it and you're not doing it for the awards, then like if you need that kind of external validation, then you need therapy more than you need to make another quilt. Like truly, as
Yeah, I mean,
someone
yeah,
who thrives off of it,
I
it's
agree
like,
with that. It's harsh. I do agree with it.
yeah,
Um,
it is harsh.
I go in and out though with needing the external validation.
Hmm.
Um, I know there's a healthy balance there.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
but I agree with you.
Yeah,
I do agree with you that,
yeah,
you know, temper your reviews no matter what they are.
right. Absolutely. And I think obviously as humans we need each other, and it's always nice and helpful to hear from the people around you that, you're doing a good job, that they love you and those things. But like if the art you're creating is only you're only creating it hoping to get awards from it, then you're missing the point, I think. Like
Yes.
how are you leaving space for your curiosity and your creativity to wake up and take the forefront? I, I don't know. This probably well, I'm going to lean into more woo woo because that's where I live. But um and my husband's a therapist, so
Oh,
we
okay.
got a lot of things happening in his house. But there's a modality called internal family systems, and it's called internal family systems because it basically says that like we have a core self, and that core self is, I he has some of the C's written down as courageous, connectedness, confidence, creativity, curiosity. There's like the 8 C's that your core
Mm-hmm.
self is. And then as we grow up, if our core self isn't nurtured, then we get these little fractured bits of ourselves that come out to protect that core self. So like I have an anxious part, I have a rage angry part, I have, it's like all these little parts of ourselves who have built this protective shell around our core self. And so um I think the creativity and the curiosity parts of ourselves that wake up when we're doing something that speaks to them, that speaks to our core self, and grounding ourselves in that humanness, like we're just doing ourselves a service by tapping into those bits of ourselves that get to come out from behind the protective shell that the
Yes.
other parts create. And those parts, you can communicate with those parts of yourself. The parts can communicate to each other. And um, it's honestly one of the coolest therapy modalities out there, but it's also one of the coolest things that you can do for your own self. Like, you don't necessarily need a therapist to start practicing the internal family systems ideas and practices. Like, there's works, like, yeah, like homework kind of things you can do to start tapping into those selves. And I think that's one of the biggest things I see when I talk to other quilters or artists. It's like the ones who tap into those bits of themselves and let them shine. That's when the spirituality, I think that's when that
Totally.
sense enters the room because you've opened yourself up from hiding and are allowing what your true self is to come out. And I love it so
Yes.
much. Sorry, I just
Totally.
went on that woo-woo tangent, but
I
anyway.
love no, I love the woo woo. No, I agree. You know, when I'm at an art, when I like, let's take Quilt National last
Yeah.
when it was the last Quilt National, I got
Hmm.
an award, which I was like, this is my first time entering. Also, this brand new style.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. Um, but looking around the room
Hmm.
at all the other pieces, they were all amazing.
Hmm.
All, very diverse. There was plenty of representational art at Quilt National.
Sure.
So one piece of advice I got was don't go representational. But the fact of the matter is there's different judges every time. You can't.
Ex
And the piece that won by Shen He Chen
uh-huh.
was a representational representative was trees. And
Oh,
that piece in particular, one could say, oh, it's trees. We have seen a lot of trees, but the her technique and the way the thread it was just singing. It won
yeah.
because it was doing that. She even
Yeah.
named it after a Beethoven symphony. I think it was seven, Beethoven Symphony number 7, a favorite of mine.
Mm.
And it just sounded, it looked, oh,
Yeah.
I was gagged in
I
the
love
good
it.
way.
Yeah.
I was gagged by it because I wasn't expecting a tree piece
Hmm.
to win.
Yeah.
But when you see it and it's like,
Of course it did.
wins,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
I,
just doing that thing.
yeah. I
And
love seeing
she's an
stuff like that.
established artist. I
Yeah.
bet somewhere along the line she might have been like, "Can I do trees? Am I
Yeah.
allowed? Will I be judged for this? Is this?"
Hmm.
She said, "Fuck it." I don't know if Shenny Chen sits around saying "fuck it," which I doubt, but
She might have her own version, but
I have her own version. But that's what I saw when I saw it. It's like, well, she's
yeah.
really making what she wants to make. This is a lesson for us all.
Yeah. Yeah. I, and it's like undeniable when you come across a piece where you're like, oh, they finally let go. Like you can tell when when an artist says fuck it and they just
Yes,
do what has been kind of living inside of them for a long time, but maybe they've been scared of it, or maybe they've been worried about the external perception of like, oh, is this person going to, because it's like art critics always have something to say, right? Like
always.
quilt critics always have something to say, and it's like they'll very quickly say, well, like, oh, this is different than what they've normally done, that they must be going downhill, or I don't know. It just is so, it's like we do the same thing to actors and to
Yeah,
music artists, and it's like I obsessed with Harry Styles. Okay, so anyway, his new album that's out, whatever, I'm so excited. But people have been like, I don't know, I feel like this is a farewell album and this is he's done, and I'm like, he has never said those words out loud, like until he tells us with his own mouth. Like, why is this what you're speculating? Like the way that people like dig in and try to like guess, and I'm just like, and they the same thing to Taylor Swift. I don't care if you hate Taylor Swift, not you specifically, but like people put so much undue weight on her and other celebrities in general, just like
the
let them,
projecting is
the
out of this world. The
projecting
projecting.
exist. Yeah, it's the projection. And I think that that can be really hard because you're like, obviously the meaning of an art piece is no longer up to the artist once it's out in the world, because now everybody who sees it has their own meaning, their own perception, their own lenses on, and you can't control that. However, when people feel the audacity, they have this like righteous indignation to make statements about people and things that they really don't know anything about. It's kind of like, well, I think you're like pushing boundaries here. Like, why do you think that your opinion about this matters more than anything? Or I don't know. It's just such an interesting way that we engage with what people make. And I feel like it's steeped in misogyny, and I feel like it's steeped
Mm,
in patriarchy and um the capitalism mindset of like the top must be the top and you must keep climbing higher and achieving and stepping on whoever you need to get there.
mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where I kind of get a little like weird with competition things, is like, I'm so proud of anybody who wins awards. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. That's so exciting. And that you
Yeah.
were brave to put your work out there when it looks like so different from everything else that's going on. And I love that about it, because it's interesting and it's entertaining, and that's the whole point, is to make things that stop people in their tracks. And that's how I feel at QuiltCon. It's like I'll see, cool, that's cool, that's cool, and then the ones that make me go, whoa, 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 I need to stop and look at
Yes.
this immediately.
I like you use the word entertain because let's not forget, this is a form of entertainment.
Exactly.
And I like to deliver on that promise with my work. If you stand
Yeah.
in front of it, it's entertaining
Yeah. Yeah. It- and that's like my
because you're going,
life.
what the fuck?
Yeah. That's what I want. I want something to
My
make me
favorite
go,
kind of
what?
entertainment.
Yeah, truly. Like I want something to make me go, the fuck is
Yeah, what is
happening?
that? What is going
Yeah.
on here?
Like
What
I
is?
need a microscope. I need a magnifying glass. I need 7 hours by myself with this thing. Like that's what I want. And I know some people maybe feel like they're making that, and maybe they are for someone else. So it's like it's all so subjective. So it's really hard to be objective in those spaces. You can be with like, oh, these stitches look great, or oh, your tension in your long arming wasn't great on the backside. Okay, cool. But what about like the overall part of it. Like, I
I'll
guess,
only take it from a judge. Like I've stopped doing the quilt shows
yeah,
because, well, I don't like how my quilts look when they're hanging in those spaces.
yeah,
Part of it. Sometimes I don't. This is going to sound snobby or whatever, but sometimes I don't like the piece that I'm next to,
and that's okay.
and
You
I
don't
feel
have
like it's
to.
reflecting. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
this is a
no,
bitchy thought, but then I get the
no,
comments back from the judges, and I think, well, you've made a good point about, like, for instance, I always got dinged on the density of my quilting being more dense in some place and less dense in others.
yes,
That was an artistic choice.
right.
Or the choosing my applique to have the edges be more coral like,
Hmm.
not so smooth.
Right,
That was a choice, but at Houston or at Paducah or wherever,
right,
it's they're gonna clock you whether you made an artistic choice or not.
right,
Um,
right.
and
I think, yeah,
I don't love. So
yeah.
I stopped looking at the comments. Sorry to the judges, but I did stop reading the comments because I want to grow in the ways that I want to grow.
Hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes I take the feedback really to heart, and I will
Hmm.
start to adjust my. I'm from the Midwest originally. I'm a people pleaser,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely that girl. The one comment is the one negative is going to stick out for me, and I'm going to
Hmm.
try to make sure that person please that person.
Right. I'm gonna prove to you I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm the same way.
girl, you're 44. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah. It's too
So
exhausting. For
yeah,
whose benefit?
but when you're doing the contemporary art quilting
Hmm.
exhibitions, it's really, they feel less like a competition and more like an exhibition that's got some awards.
Right.
Unlike the quilt shows, which are that's a competition. There's
Right.
a rubric involved.
Right.
But these other things is very subjective, and you don't get judges' feedback.
Okay. You just get an
So
award or you don't.
yeah, well, you by getting in, you've won an award because you're
Sure, sure,
juried
sure.
into something and you get to be a part. This is
You
for
get
me. I
chosen.
keep saying to myself, I like to be a part of this conversation.
Hmm.
And by that, I mean just the artwork hanging on a wall with the other things. I'm a part of an artistic conversation.
Yeah.
And then people like you who are documenting people like us who are taking the time to archive small artists, even the big, I mean, with the exception of, like, I don't know, Bisa Butler,
Right.
or
Oh,
the unnamed quilters of G's Bend, who are all
right.
famous, but no one knows who they are.
Right.
We are small time artists. You are giving us an archive, a place to, where our voices matter. And that's to me what
Yeah.
the exhibitions are. It's a being about this, a part of a conversation.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do feel bad when friends don't get into stuff, because I'm like, well, I want you to get in so we could be there together and be
Right.
in that conversation together. I do feel bad. I don't, I'm
Yeah.
not glad when people don't get in, or
Yeah. No,
it's not that.
no. And okay, I do have to say this just as like a disclaimer because I don't want to get called out for it, but I did quilt. I long arm two pieces that got into QuiltCon this year. So I have had work hanging in quilt shows. And I
Congratulations.
thank you. And I did long arm a couple of the because my local guild, their show, we have a bunch of the members come together to make blocks and then they create a quilt that is then raffled off at the quilt show. And you can
Mhm.
buy, raffle tickets all the like the whole summer
That's
leading up, like from shop hop until literally at the quilt show.
never
And
won one, always want to.
yeah,
Always want to win
I
that quilt.
know. I know. And so I quilted the last two. I didn't quilt the one that's going to be for next year's quilt show. Wait. Yeah. And then and then
And this is free motion long arming.
yeah, I do a mixture because I have a computerized machine, but I did a mixture on both. And
Mhm.
again, the first one I did, I was sitting in on the judging, scribing, and I didn't realize, I guess, well, I knew it was in there. I just didn't know where it was going to be in the stack or like in the category. And so I'm just
Mhm.
like typing along and I didn't really know what they named it because they just like, here, long arm this. And I'm like, okay. And again, I made some artistic choices. I did some digital block motifs in some of the spaces. And then there were these lovely like on point blocks, and each block was a different flower with different techniques. Some were traditionally pieced, some were applique, some were foundation paper pieced. Anyway, and then there were these couple bird blocks, and it was a big fat blue bird, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pebbles in the background to let the bird
Mm-hmm.
kind of pop and stick out of it,
Absolutely.
and they did not like that. And I
Did
was
this,
like,
and you were in the room.
yeah, and I couldn't react, and I was
You
like,
could react.
so then when I took a step outside after we, took a break, whatever, and I took a step outside and I was like, why? I was like trying to understand my feelings because trying to be more mindful and not so reactive. And one of the judges stepped out. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just taking a minute. I was like, I wasn't mentally prepared to have my work judged in front of me. She's
Mm.
like, what do you mean? I said, oh, the green, the flower, like I long armed that for the guild because that's our raffle quilt. And I just wasn't necessarily ready to hear about my work that way. And I said, it is what it is. I can't change it now. And now I know I'm learning, whatever. I was like, I'm just trying to absorb and understand and just like Nate sit with the feeling I'm having because it's new to me. And she got so offended.
I was gonna say I'm having so much anxiety hearing this story right now.
I know she got so offended that I was
Not
just saying like I'm just
you were
trying to
like, this
understand
is
how
hard.
I feel.
Didn't understand. I didn't know that I would feel this way.
Right, exactly. I was like, I just didn't think I would have this kind of reaction. And
Yeah.
I think I was having a tough day. I think I had just, oh, that was part of it too. I had gotten some feedback from someone I was doing a project for that was kind of a big deal. And I designed this whole thing and I had this plan. I was so excited about it. And I thought it was great. And they were like, we don't like any of it. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. And then I had to like go to describing. So I was like trying to deal with that on top of the fact that then I just got like, for the very first time, a nationally certified judge telling me, not knowing, telling that they were telling me that my quilting was dumb and they didn't like it and that it was too inconsistent. And then anyway,
And
so
it wasn't just written down on paper. You got to hear the discussion.
yes.
Oof. And were you scribing for yourself about your
Uh,
own? I'm sorry to laugh.
I know. Seriously, it was just like later I was like, what the
What a
fuck? Like,
nightmare.
yeah, it was crazy. It was so crazy. And then I was actually supposed to scribe for last year's show, but I woke up so sick and I was like, I'm not bringing this to you guys. I'm not going to be able to sit there all day and keep typing. Like I'm going to feel like garbage. So I was like, I'm so sick and I'm so sorry, but I just do not want to bring this to any of you. I know so many of the quilt wranglers are immunocompromised, whatever. And they were like, yeah, totally. We got it. And so I didn't have to hear them talk about the other one that I had quilted because the next year's raffle quilt was then it's like we're always like kind of a year ahead
Sure.
of
Yeah,
the
that's how we have to
then
do
because
things.
then they entered into the local fair and then they also enter into our own quilt show and then it's the raffle quilt for the next quilt show. So anyways, the quilt that I did literally last summer will be raffled for this upcoming show, which is feels crazy. But anyway, so
Right.
I didn't sit in on that. And they didn't offer me any of the comments either. So I literally have no idea what was said about that quilt.
How do you feel about that quote?
I feel like I'm done with it. I don't want to know and I don't care.
Do
It
you
had
like what you did though with the
yeah,
quilt?
I feel like I did the best I could do with what I was given for free. So, I was giving my service for free. And but I also that doesn't mean I did less. I did just as much as I would do if I was being paid the, $900 in labor. But um but yeah, I felt like it was pretty cool. Each block, there was like 50 different blocks and they were supposed to represent each state. They weren't all like the state blocks, but and they were all varying sizes. So the way they arranged them, they were supposed to kind of look like like a city skyline, like
Mm-hmm.
skyscrapers. And so I kind of had fun with that concept of like, ooh, it'd be cool to like pretend like these were stained glass windows. And so I was choosing like block motifs and things that would kind of
Yeah.
echo what a stained glass window would look like. And the colors were also different and cool. And then the background top from the top midline up essentially to fill in the background was just like a white fabric. So I did some clouds and some kind of like wavy like wind
Mm-hmm.
kind of wispy lines. And so it felt cool and I liked it. And, I embroidered a label to make sure that, whoever wins that quilt knows who made it. And
Sounds so custom and
it was
luxe.
very custom.
Love custom.
Yeah.
I do get a little, let me do a hot take.
We love hot
Contemporary,
takes.
okay, contemporary quilting, contemporary piecing. Um, I think too often the quilting aspect of the quilt becomes an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I do think plain straight line quilting is often great to show off the piecing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've seen so many examples where someone has gone off on the quilting in a way that doesn't look like quilting motifs necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
something of them, something original, or they've swirled the lines in a certain way, or they're contouring, they're piecing. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I prefer that
Mm-hmm.
to the piecing is what matters here. So I'm doing straight line quilting.
Right.
I'm not saying I don't like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
But time and place, time and place. And
I really
yeah,
appreciate the quilting
yeah,
on a
me too.
piece and I'm looking at the quilting.
Me too.
I will sometimes not
Yeah.
bother to look at the piecing. Oops.
Right. No, I feel
And
the
as a
same
long
way.
armor, I'm sure you are looking at that.
Oh, I am. I am because that's to me, speaking of what sings is like I can see a quilt and know like, oop, this is the pantograph for this quilt. Like
Mm.
they speak to me, they tell me what they want to be, they tell me who they want to be. And a lot of times, my clients pick and that's fine. And there's been some where I fight. I'm like, I don't think that that's the right pantograph for this quilt. And
Mhm.
they're like, well, do you have another one in mind? And I'm like, yeah. And I pull out my giant binders and
Yeah.
I flip them open and I'm like, okay, this one. And they're like, oh, I like that better. And I don't say this from like, I'm better than anybody or whatever. It's just, this is what I'm good at. This is what I've honed my craft. I've spent thousands of hours doing it.
I
Like,
would take your advice.
thank you. That makes me feel happy.
I would take your advice. I would take your
It
advice.
matters to me. It means a lot to me. And so I think because I take it so seriously, but I'm not like stuffy, if that makes sense. Like I take it
Mhm.
seriously, but I'm also here to hear your ideas and to work with you and to give you the quilt that you want. But I think piecing is great. And again, I love quilts. I love being around them. I love seeing them. I love looking at piecing because there's so many really cool things you can do with piecing. But I'm also looking at the quilting and I'm with you and your hot take. And I think sometimes I see straight line quilting on a piece and I'm like, you got so lazy. You got lazy. You could have done so.
You said it. I didn't.
I'm going to say it and I will own it. It feels lazy to me sometimes. And I get why some people do what they do it when they do it. I'm like, yep, that works. That's exactly what that quilt needed. But I think because I'm a long armor first, I see things and go, ooh, that could have been something completely different that would have stopped people in their tracks, that
Yeah.
would have made people go, oh, holy shit, what is this? You
Yeah.
know? And
The full quilt experience,
right.
showing the
Eh,
full breadth of what this art form can do.
yes. And so
Because when you
emphasis,
do piecing and it's a color,
yeah.
it changes color because
Mhm.
so many like I've pieced things and then I was like, oh no, I don't want to quilt it
Mhm.
because there's gonna be shadows all over it. It's
Right.
gonna be a different color.
Yeah. It
It's
changes
gonna be
things.
different. And sometimes I
Mhm.
feel like
Yeah.
the straight line quilting isn't always doing what you think it's doing. It isn't
Right.
hiding the way you think it's hiding.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes people are hiding the quilting. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't mean
Yeah.
any offense to anybody.
Yeah.
I
No,
love
no,
all the
no.
quilters.
Again, we can have our
I
own
really do.
perceptions of stuff, right? Like we all have our own perceptions, our own views on it. And I think, yeah, opinions are just that. We all have them.
And I'm
It,
an asshole, just like everyone else.
you know,
Happy to admit it. It's
it
okay.
is what it is. But I think I agree with you. I think there's just, it's like, I don't think that accomplished what you thought it accomplished, but also
Yeah.
I get why some people go that direction and maybe they don't have access to or funding to get a custom long arming job, or they haven't learned the skills to do it with their own means. And that's
Mhm.
fine. I totally get all that. And I'm not here to say everybody needs to know how to custom quilt their own quilts. Like everybody needs to be rich enough to pay me to quilt their quilts, like not me specifically, but to pay, for custom work. And it can get really expensive because
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time and planning, and that's my art. So that's my art, the quilting part, right? Like I I'll piece a quilt. I like quilts. I like to sew things. I like to learn new techniques, but like I want to long arm. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Um so
I
yeah,
don't know
and
if I'll ever piece again.
yeah.
I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
I
I have anything to say with it. And I
right.
see the piecing that I see right now is so beautiful and
Mhm.
I'm so sent. People are using big, chunky,
Yeah.
huge pieces right now, and it's just sending me to the moon. I love
Yeah.
it. And I don't want to join that conversation. I don't have
Yeah.
anything to add to it right now. Maybe I will one day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
seeing what the girls and the boys are coming up with is girls, gays, and theys, honey.
Yeah.
That's the quilters.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. I do love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just make sure you're. If I'm going to be a quilt judge, I'm
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I
I'm a whole
think
cloth quilter.
yeah.
So, and I believe that quilting, the depth of quilting, literally the depth, but also what
Hmm.
you can do with the quilting part of it, not the
Uh-huh.
piecing, is the sky is the limit, and
Truly.
it becomes a sculpture the
Hmm.
further you push it. People have asked me if I do my work on a long arm. I don't have a long arm. I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not. I would have to do all the stuffing after the fact,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
because
I can't do that because the stuffing, once I've stuffed something, I'm like, oh, that did not go the way I thought it was going to go. That shape did not turn out how I thought it would.
yeah.
Good thing I stuffed it because now I have to adjust what I'm going to do from
Yeah.
there. And I'm not sure I could do that on a long arm. I don't think I have a use for a long arm right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
if someone
definitely
gave me one, I'd take it, but
right. I
but
know,
I don't
right?
think
It's very specific.
yeah.
And it's very specifically for flat pieces, which is fine. Like,
Mhm.
but I think you're right. Like the nature of yours. And I was gonna ask you if you ever see yourself piecing again, or if you see yourself incorporating any piecing into what you do. But it,
I've tried, I've done some experiments and it just
yeah,
always looks like, oh, he's incorporating piecing.
right. It's not
It doesn't
part of the
feel like
piece.
it's telling. I haven't found the need yet
Yeah,
mystically
yeah,
and spiritually to
yeah.
express what it is I'm trying to do through that. When I've added color to this work, suddenly I stop seeing the shadows and it's like, oh, I'm looking at that color now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling a color story. I'm telling a texture and shape,
Right,
um, dimensional shape. Because I mean,
right,
obviously, all quilts are talking about shape. That's one
right,
of the
right, right,
fundamental components, but it's
right.
just a different way of approaching it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've taught some workshops. I've taught two workshops, and um, the girls had a lot of fun.
Good.
It was all girls, all women. The girls had a lot of fun, and they all were like, "Wow, this is a really different way of thinking. I really enjoyed this."
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I literally say, bring white, monochrome, whatever in that, they
Yeah,
can bring whatever they want. But I'm like, you really want something monochromatic to not
yeah.
distract you.
Mm-hmm.
And don't
Yeah,
think too much about it. You're probably not going to make a finished piece. And if you do, it's probably going to look something like mine and you're not going to. So I don't know.
right.
Now, as far as like workshops and stuff, I don't know if I want to continue down that road
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know. I don't know if I want to share it just yet.
Yeah.
I think if I taught a workshop and next thing I know, I saw someone kind of using my ideas and making pieces that echoed mine and were out there. Cause that happens with a lot of teachers. People go spend a
Uh-huh.
week wherever. And next
Mm-hmm.
thing I know, I'm like, I see the accolade
Mm-hmm.
or acolyte, excuse me.
Oh yeah,
I see
accolade.
the acolyte
Yeah. Yeah.
in that quilter. And I think if I saw someone doing what I was doing because they took a workshop with me at a
Mm-hmm.
show, I think I would be filled with rage. I was gonna
Right.
be I'd be
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? This was for you
Right.
to be, you know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
shouldn't be that's not how a teacher should be. So I'm like, maybe that's not for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the mood to protect what I've got going on until I've fully realized myself in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say for now, I think it is valuable to protect it because it's still an exploration for you. You don't feel like, okay, I've mastered this. I'm good. It's
But
like,
in translation, it means if a guild were to come to me and say, "Hey, can you come and do workshop?" I would say yes, and I would come and do it. But I'm not putting it out there like that. I'm not putting it out there as a product that I'm advertising. I'm going and doing it all the time.
right.
Because every time I do one, I do feel a little like I gave a part of myself away.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this. I used to be a teacher as well, a high
Okay.
school music teacher, choir
Okay.
teacher,
Yeah.
and doing the musicals and all of that. And I left after 5 years to go to move to New York to be with my husband and pursue professional music making and not professional music teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids, they ate me up. They were great. I loved them. They were sweet, very talented, but they suckled from my from
Yeah.
me. They took
Yeah.
my life energy from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a student should do to a teacher. And the
Right.
good teachers, they want they want, they're not losing their life force.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I tend to feel like, I don't want to be responsible for your creativity in this room right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love giving advice to other artists either.
Right.
Even if they ask, I'm very careful about
Yeah.
really asking a question of them more than telling them what I think they should do. It's more, well, what do
Right.
you think? So
Right.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, I think
if someone
that
asks, I'm happy to come and do it. I'd love to come and give a talk. That I'm
sure.
happy to do for guilds and things. But if you're in a workshop with me, that's special. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
Limited a dish.
Limited a dish.
That's so funny. Well, and I think uh, having been an elementary teacher, yes, the
Oh, okay.
kids steal every ounce of you. And that's fun. Again, great teachers, they're
That's the
like,
point. That
that's the
is the
point, right?
point.
And it can be really hard to
Come from a
keep that
family of
together.
teachers?
Kind
Because I
of.
do. Everyone in my family was a teacher at one point or
Oh,
another. So
okay.
that's why I did it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. My mom was in a roundabout way. She taught at like a private homeschool co-op, and I grew up being homeschooled for like the majority. I went to high school and public school, but I think that was like a big like I'm going to prove that school is just fine. And
Mhm.
I hated being homeschooled. So it wasn't that I came from a family of teachers. It was that I had something to prove. And then when I finally started therapy and was realizing that that's what was happening, I was like, I got to get out of here. I,
Yeah.
I wasn't okay. I wasn't ever going to be okay in that position. So, um,
Right. You're
I
like
was,
someone coming out and going down the road of,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah. And
excess or something.
right. And I just like my whole identity was wrapped up in it. And it was just like, I'm this martyr all the time. And I didn't like that about myself. But it was so hard to come away from that way of thinking while putting myself into that environment every single day.
Yeah.
And so, we already had the quilting business. So when I quit, I just started doing the long arming and stuff full time with my mom. And then I bought her out in 2024. So now I just run the long arming by myself. But
Wonderful.
um, anyway, I I was saying all that to say something, and now I can't remember what it is, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. Who cares what I think? No.
Enough people care. Don't you
Eh.
worry.
No, but well, I love that, you're still I think it takes I think it takes the kind of self-love and having boundaries set with your own art to be able to explore it fully. And when people just want to learn from you, and like you're saying, people putting art out that looks very similar to who they just took a class with, and then they're going to go try one. It's like, it's great to learn from other people, but it's like if you're just using that to then go emulate them and try to do what they're already doing, it feels very like fake. I don't know.
Well, yeah, to me, it's you're still in a transitionary period. You
Yeah.
are still holding on to the transition. Sometimes, listen, as a former teacher, I've never been a great student.
Mm.
I'm a pain in the ass student, very good student, 4.0, all of
Yeah.
that scholarships, but not taking any bullshit from a teacher ever. Not doing it. Going to
Hmm.
call it out. I was definitely a pain in the ass student,
Mm.
and I am weary of teaching teachers. Sometimes I'm weary of the cults that pop up around teachers.
Hmm.
A lot of people brag about being berated by a teacher at a quilting thing, and it's their
Hmm.
stripe of honor. And I'm like, go for it, honey. I'm going to go outside and cry and probably get in my car and not come back and leave a bad review
Yeah,
and tell
100%.
everybody, don't go there. You're going to get abused. But
Yeah.
a lot of people, and this could be a generational thing, a lot of us in the younger side, and I mean 40s of
Yeah.
quilting,
Yeah.
we're not so interested in workifying it,
Mm.
getting abused,
Right.
slightly.
Right.
I don't know. I think we
Yeah.
want something gentler and more
Right.
inspiring and less. I don't know. I just when I hear
Right.
people are going to a quilt workshop and getting and in tears over it, I'm like, well, it
What's the point?
couldn't be for me.
No. No.
Couldn't be for me, and nor would
No.
I think that's one reason I wanted to leave. You might relate to this, is I wanted to read those kids for filth
Yeah.
I had to hold myself back so much. I have such an evil spirit.
Yeah.
And I really
Yeah.
had, and I was good. I held myself back. And the times when I didn't, I felt bad and I apologized. If only some of these older generations could be this way to themselves,
Right.
that they wouldn't crave going to the workshop that will push their boundaries. It's like you can
Right.
have your boundaries pushed without being
Being.
subjugated.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
I said it. Oh, I had to get it out. Girl, I had to get
Subjugated.
it out.
Yeah.
A lot
No,
of subjugating going on, I feel,
yeah.
in some aspects of the
Hmm.
quilt world.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think it's hard to sit in those spaces where it's like, well, if you're going to just be shitty, why am I here? Like, what's the point? And I think you're hitting the nail on the head with like us elder millennials are sick of the like again that hierarchical top down bullshit where it's like, well, this is just the way it's always been, so this is how it goes. It's like, I beg to differ. This is the way maybe you've always been, but I don't have to accept you talking to me that way. It doesn't require that to learn this technique. So if you
It's a
can't
gatekeeping thing.
right. Oh, it's crazy.
And
And
it's like, what's the quote I hear? If you're not doing this 8 hours a day, you can't, you're not going to if you're not doing art like this 8 hours a day, you're not going to become an artist. It's like, baby, I was born this way.
yeah.
I was born an artist.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't born a slave to my art.
No.
I
No,
was
and I
born to be free.
mhm.
So 8 hours a day, sure, but 6 of those are in contemplation
Right.
while I'm making dinner and taking the dogs for a walk and doing all the things that have to happen around here. I put in
Right.
all the wood floors. I'm doing all the remodeling on the house.
Hmm.
That's my new quilt, if you
Yeah.
will. It's this house that we bought out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
So I'm to really trying not to workify
Hmm.
this.
Right. Well,
Try not
and
to do that.
that's I think that's also such a I guess yeah, a millennial thing to do is to take your hobby and or your art and turn it into a job, which I did. I turned quilting
Mhm.
into my job. But I'm also I've molded it into doing what I like the most that I feel like isn't taking away from my own creative practice. Whereas when I was making quilts from start to finish for people, that felt like it was taking everything away from me
Mm.
because I was spending all this time and all my creative juices on someone else's quilt when I could have been making my own stuff. Like I had all these ideas for stuff I wanted to make, but I felt shackled by other people's projects.
Yeah, I think you're describing it there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Workifying is different than work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. The distinction is workifying is the things we tell ourselves about what being a good girl or being a good boy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you've taken, to me, I look at you and I think, oh, well, she's narrowed in on the long arming.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
this
Yeah.
podcasting, which you've been doing how many years now?
Almost 5.
So you've found
Yeah.
your
I get
place
to
where you're
yap
not
and long
work.
arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, me
Yeah.
too. Listen,
Yeah.
there's work, but workifying would be, oh, I need to get that website made.
Right.
I need to be putting myself out there for workshops. I need to be every
Mm-hmm.
week sending out emails to guilds and da da da. I'm like, oh God, well then I would be on my calendar and then
I know. I know. I was literally
and I'd
just
want to
having this
cancel. I
conversation.
would really want to cancel.
Yeah.
But
I
then
was
I can't because
literally
it's a
just
small
having
world.
this. Yeah. 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 It's like
Like I
I
want
was
to be
just,
free.
yeah, I was just talking to my husband about this. Like, because there's just I love doing this podcast. I love it so much. I do it all by myself. I had an editor for a while. Things happen, blah, blah, blah. I'm no longer working with that company and it's fine. It just is what it is.
Mhm.
But when I had to come back to doing it all myself, I was like, oh yeah, this was exhausting. Like, and, and it's, and sometimes there's lulls. It's like, okay, who do I ask now? Who do I ask now? And I'm like looking, I've got a list, but then it's like, I'm scrambled. I'm not that organized. But I'm also like, okay, I got to give attention to my long arming, da da da. And it's like that split kind of when people are like, oh, I do this part of, my business on these days and I do this part in these days. I'm like, that's not how this works. Like, that's not how
Mhm.
my home works. And because I work out of my home, like I have to be more flexible with like my husband's schedule too, because sometimes he needs to be in this area, in this room. And
Oh, my whole life is
yeah.
shaped around my dogs and my husband because
Yeah.
this is the one work call I'll have this year.
Well, I feel
And
lucky.
he's on them all day, every day. And it is my job to keep the house quiet for him so that he can make the money so
Right.
that we can both have our lives.
Right.
But I do every now and again feel that
Yeah.
like, oh, what I'm doing is not that important that the house must be um, situated around me.
Right. I think that's how I feel too. But also, like, uh, I have half of the garage taken up for my long arm. Like, my husband built a wall down half
I
of
have
our
the
garage.
entire
And
basement.
yeah,
I
like,
should not be complaining.
I know. And I don't think yeah, I'm not
No, we're
complaining.
not complaining.
I just feels like, I'm like, I want to find a better balance. I also love, I love doing the podcast. I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. I love sharing stories. I feel like that's how we make connections. That's how we keep our community together. That's how we strengthen our community, is by not just looking at someone's Instagram post and being like, I don't really like it, or oh, that's cool, and then scrolling by. It's like, no, I want to stop and talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
how did that come out of your brain? What led you to the life you're living right now? Like, that's what interests me.
So did you go into this the podcasting filling a gap because there aren't really other quilt shows that are so conversational. It's much more
Mhm.
interview, peppy,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
timeline.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I couldn't find a quilt related or craft related podcast that I wanted to sit and listen to while I quilted, while I crafted. I have the ones I tend to like are the ones that feel way more conversational, and questions get asked and you learn about the work, but it's like, I want to have a funny moment in my head about that person in the interviewer that I can think about later down the road, or like, oh my gosh, that was so funny. I'm so glad I got to see a glimpse of that person's sense of humor, or I'm so glad I got to see that person tear up about that thing because that was really touching, and it's like good to see their humanity. And I think having a scripted list of questions and like, you know, uh, a branded sponsor that you have to be super careful around and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
like that feels stifling to me. And so, and I tried to have questions. I tried to do all that at the beginning, and I was like, this
You're
is,
going to burn out.
yeah, this is not who I am. This is not what I want to do, because I was like, oh, this is what other shows do. But then I was like thinking, I'm like, what do I like though? If I'm not making a show that I would sit and listen to, I don't want to do it. And so when I started to shift that and be more conversational and more kind of focused on just getting to know the other person, that's when I really felt like, okay, I'm doing something now. And like, I don't make money. Like this is a thing I do out of my own love for the craft and for the people in it. And um so I think that's it. Is like I know that there's going to be an end someday. It's just not right now, and I'll reach my limit at some point, but I'm having too much fun, and it's too much fun to be able to go places and like see people that like we've met on the podcast, or somebody be like, "Oh my gosh, I love your podcast." And I'm like, "Yes, we're best friends." And
Yeah.
you
But
know,
like I said, you are creating an archive. You're doing a service.
thank you.
You're doing a service to the girls, gays, and theys, and whatever straight men
Never haven't met one.
are
Never met them.
involved.
I know.
We love
I
them
just,
too.
I guess if we have to. Mm, I'm just kidding.
But no, I appreciate that you do this. And I was reading this situation. I did think to myself, because I've made YouTube videos, and I know it is you're doing a lot, girl. You are Saint Amanda.
Oh, thank you. I'll polish my halo later. Um, no, well, I appreciate that because it does feel like a labor of love, and I say labor so loosely. Like editing is not
It's
fun, and
labor. Stop. It
it
is
is.
the
It
worst.
it is, and that's I think that's the part that
So
has
many
kind of
decisions. It's a
yeah.
lot of decision making. It's a lot of
Yeah.
your own CPU to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's where I'm like, my energy could be elsewhere. Like I could be long arming right now instead I'm sitting here cutting the weird breath I took in between that sentence, or cutting the long pause I took because I was thinking of a word, and that's annoying and I don't want that dead space. It's like
Yeah.
those little things where I'm like, oh, I don't want to keep nitpicking myself or like the conversation. I had the conversation. It was great how it was, and I just want to put that out. And so,
I think that's good. Uh, I was hoping that you would contact me.
really?
Yes, I was
Oh,
waiting. I was like, ooh, because I would like to be on that because you can say what you want.
yeah. We're just here to
I
yap
was like, that could
and
be a good place for me to really say what it is I'm thinking about.
yeah.
So kudos to you
Oh, thank
for
you. I'm
help for
glad.
letting us spill the tea.
There's so much tea spilt over here, and
Yeah.
I just mop it up. It's great. I love it. No, it's good. No, well, I appreciate you taking the time to be here today, and I'm
My
glad that
pleasure.
you felt like this was a platform that you could be your full self. And
Absolutely. And I would recommend anyone else
thank you. Yeah. And if
to
people reach
come
out
and
to me,
talk.
like, I'm not like, ew, I can't believe you contacted me. Like, no, please
Mm.
do. Like, if you find value in my show and you think that your voice would resonate here, then by all means, reach out. I'm just a
Yeah.
girl.
She's just a girl.
I'm
Yeah,
just a girl.
folks, reach out, join the conversation.
Yeah.
Take
We
your place on the internet.
yes, please do. We all have space. There's space for all of us.
Yeah.
We all can have our 15 minutes or 2 hours, whatever, it's fine. It's great. I love it. But
Yeah.
well, before we wrap up, I do want to ask you, do you have a tip or piece of advice that you would like to offer to our listeners?
Well, since you asked for the piece of
Oh,
advice,
I want it to give it to me.
my piece of advice for all the girls, gays, and theys out there who are doing this art stuff is if someone hasn't asked you for your feedback, don't give it.
Mm,
Don't give unasked for advice. Listen to me again.
mm-hmm,
We don't want to hear it.
mm-hmm.
We want your compliments. We want your observations. We don't want, have you considered? Why didn't you?
Shut the fuck up.
What is your definition of a quilt? I get that a lot.
Wouldn't you like to know, Brenda?
Yeah, it's that. I'm like, don't do it. And I'll tell you why. I have a really good reason. It isn't because it's not for snotty reasons. It's because you're doing it for you. When you're giving that feedback, It's because you think in the inside, if I don't tell them, maybe no one will. And
Hmm.
I think that what I think they should be doing is so important that I have to tell them. You are a narcissist. You are being a narcissist. Maybe you're not a narcissist, but you're being narcissistic in that moment. And stop it.
Right.
Don't do it. Hit
Yeah.
yourself. Go hit yourself instead of hitting us with it. You could
Right.
be interrupting an artist in their process.
Right.
If you say to me, why not do it in another color or an
Mhm.
ombre or use more fabrics? You're robbing me of my opportunity to make that discovery myself. And you might
Right.
actually stop an egotistical person from me from doing that because I would never want any of these advice givers to think I ever took their advice. I don't want
Right.
anyone looking at a piece of mine and thinking, well, I was the one who told him to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I told him. Oh,
I I was the one who told me to start using color. I was the one.
right.
I was the
Right.
one. And there's too many trolls out there who are
Right.
doing that. And these are nice people
Hmm.
who otherwise are out of their minds. So
Yeah.
that is the advice. Also, don't go to the quilt show and say anything other than fabulous, congratulations, love it. Tell me more about your piece.
Hmm.
That is at the opening of the event is not the time to help someone with their piece. The piece is done.
Right. It's done. It's in the
It's
show, honey.
done.
Yeah.
And who do you think you are that you think they need your help for the next piece?
Hmm.
So don't do it. And if anything, now they know, don't come at me. I don't want to hear critiques.
Yeah.
I don't
Do
want to hear
not,
advice and help.
do not talk to Brent
Don't do
unless you're
it.
telling him, I love it. It's the best. I've never seen anything so cool.
You know, when
That's,
Irene Roderick gave me that feedback, I asked her, I
yeah,
said, what would you do?
right. That's a
That was
different
a
story.
direct ask.
Correct. And that is far different than some
And if
rando
she would have just come up to me,
and like, you know what you should have done? Even if it's a respected name like Irene Roderick, you still would have been like, excuse you? But because you asked, it was a different, you
yeah,
were looking for her, you asked for the feedback. Yes.
yeah. Unlike when in my first time at Houston, it was a hand dyed painted quilt, looked like a watercolor coral
Hmm.
reef, and a very nice, one of the white glove people.
Hmm.
She said, well, you know, the difference between a good watercolor and a great watercolor is contrast. And I think that you could have a great watercolor in your future.
And I think you could shut your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, and I said, oh, thank you. Can you show me where your quilt is? She said, well, I don't have one hanging here. I said, oh, okay.
Mm, mm, okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then shut up. Just
Yeah.
don't.
Oh,
Can you imagine? I
yeah.
would just never go up to anybody. If I'm standing with you at your quilt, I'm complimenting it. I
Hmm.
believe what David Hockney said, may he rest in peace, when he said, anything becomes beautiful just by looking at it. I don't know if
Yes.
that's the exact quote, but it's something like just by looking at it, something can become beautiful. If I'm standing with an artist and I'm looking at their piece with them, I'm looking for the beauty
Right.
and I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to
Right.
ask curious questions.
Right.
So you're just not, you're safe with me.
Hmm.
I'm not here to interrupt you
Yeah.
as an artist. And I think other people should be that way too. Stop interrupting people unless they ask you to.
Yeah. I love that point though. You might be interrupting an artist's process. And if you are thinking that your opinion of someone else's work is more important than the work that they're doing, like it's not it's not for
Not a good
you to
look.
decide. No, and it's not for you to decide that you know better, that you are going to help them in some way unless they, yeah, like you said, unless you specifically ask them for advice, like it's not for them to give. And I think that's where, the quilt police, that whole concept comes from, because it's like these people think they know the right way, the one and only right way to do things, and then they spew it on anybody that comes near them. It's like you're creating dissonance where there doesn't need to be any. And you're right, like, oh, I don't even know. There was a quote. It was said in Ted Lasso, but I know it's not from him. It's somebody else. But basically, like he was talking about, like as a kid, people underestimating him, and it's because they weren't ever curious. They were judgmental instead of curious.
Mm,
And the people who are more judgmental and less curious are the ones who always have an opinion, who always think they know things, who always it's a shield, it's one of their parts shielding them from something, right? So they've developed this part of themselves that comes out and says, well, I know these things, I know these things, I know these things, because somewhere deep inside them they feel an insecurity.
yeah.
It's not up to you to figure out why, but it's the people who come up with curiosity and ask questions. It's like, oh, I can sit here with you all day. If you're going to ask me questions, by all means, I'd be happy to answer them, depending on the question. Because sometimes people ask questions in that like
Well,
why did you do it?
I have a funny quick story about this.
Okay.
So I was at a exhibition, Quilt equals art equals quilt, up at the
Mm-hmm.
Schweinfurth Art Center in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there were three of us men present. I think there was only three men in the show and three at the opening.
Okay.
And I became friends with one of them was Fuzzy Mall, who I spoke with briefly, and the other one, Mark Hawk, who is
Okay.
also a photographer, and he made this wonderful family about his gay queer experience thing, a
Mm-hmm.
very beautiful, wonderful piece. Anyway, he came up to me and he was like, "I think a woman just came up to me and thought I was you."
Oh.
I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, because she said, and what exactly is your definition of a quilt?" I was like, she said it like that. He said, yeah, she seemed pretty mad about it because she
Mm.
thought he was me. Meanwhile, we knew his quilt was like 9 patches.
Yeah.
So it definitely was very quilty, right? We
Yeah.
knew she wasn't talking because obviously he gets what the definition of a quilt is.
Right. He went real traditional with that. Yeah.
And I said, well, what did you say to her? And he said, well, I said, I think you think I'm someone else
Yeah. You
because of
must
her
have been
tone.
mistaken. Yeah.
Now, she would have come up. I'm glad she didn't come up to me with that energy because I would have gone off on her and that would have not been cute.
Yeah. It
That
wouldn't have
would
been a
have,
good look.
it wouldn't have been a good look, right? But, if she would have come up to me and said, this is, I've never seen anything like this. What is your definition of a quilt?
Right.
I'd be, are you kidding? Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Give me the
Thank you.
spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm ready to tell you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
just wanted to, apparently, she wanted to spread a little hate.
Yeah.
And Mark,
Yeah.
my friend Mark,
Yeah.
got
Poor
it.
Mark.
Got the hate. Poor Mark. It's like,
Poor
sorry.
Mark.
Sorry you're getting my leftovers on that. My leftover hate.
The shrapnel. Yeah.
But
It's
those are few and far between. That is not my normal experience. Most people
right.
love it, get it, are interested. So I'm
Right.
gonna put that out there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
bad stuff sticks.
Yeah. It really does. And I think it's that like one of the conversations that my husband and I have had, because like he, got sober when he was still in his like mid late 20s. So he's been sober a long time. But um one of the things that comes out of like a 12-step program is like the brutal honesty, right? And
Mm,
it took a lot of us having lots of conversations over the last 18 years of like, just because you're being brutally honest doesn't mean that you're being kind. And I think there is a rigorous, brutal honesty that needs to come with getting sober because you have to be honest with
sure.
yourself and you have to be honest with everybody around you. And that works.
I did it myself.
So it works in that setting, but then there's a time and place after that, right?
Hmm.
And I think sometimes when people do that, they think that they're just being honest. And it's like, well, you're also being a bitch. So like
Yes.
you can be kind and ask questions. And I think people get so stuck in the fact that they weren't treated with enough love that they think that that's their way to be in the world. It's like, well, I didn't get any love, so I'm not going to give it. It's like, but you're just making that worse. Anyway, so I think it's just that concept of like understanding when your truth is less important than being a curious like observer. And if you really truly have something to say, write an email. Like put it on
Oh,
paper first and then decide.
yeah. And then read it back to yourself.
Read it
And
to
then,
yourself and then go, "Oh, that's actually kind of rude. I shouldn't say that." It's
yeah.
the like not checking ourselves before we make comments or say things to other, like these are other human beings. Just like you said, we're just humans behind these things. Like,
I mean, I've definitely put my foot in my mouth a few times.
so have I. I do it a lot because I am a yapper and I just say shit.
Yeah.
And I apologize and I'm sorry.
At that
And
same event, I was given my talk, my 3 5 minute talk about my piece.
yeah.
And I was saying I like to use muslin because there is a constraint to it. And I put constraints on myself when I work. And someone asked in a pointed way, well, why don't you use a fabric that's more flexible? Why do you insist on using this? And I gave a bitchy answer back. I was bitchy about how I answered because to me, I could feel I'm sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Me
gay.
too.
I'm gay, honey. We are reading all the time what everybody is doing all the time. We're very sensitive. And I was like,
Right.
that's nasty what you just asked.
Yeah.
You're not accepting what you see. You're not curious about what you're seeing. You're wondering why it isn't something else.
Right. Yeah. There's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe that's my gay trauma from childhood, but we all have a lot of people wanting us to be not seeing what is there, but instead wanting to see what they want to be there. That's the
Mm-hmm.
gay experience. So I'm just not taking it over here in
Yeah.
this here quilty gay space, not
Yeah.
doing it.
Good.
So
Good. It's not the same thing, but I do have a similar kind of feeling. I can read people very quickly because I was my safety. It was my how I kept kind of the room calm and kept, things okay and
being a good girl.
being a good girl and so I need to read the vibe of a room. I need to hear the different intonations and what people say. And I mean, I don't need to anymore, but like that is still a part of me that peeks her head up sometimes and goes, "Oh, oh, do we need to be on top of this? Like you better," or yesterday driving, I was like, "Do you want me to drive it? So, I can drive." My husband was driving. He's like, "Why?" It's like, "I don't know. You're just like sighing a lot." He's like, "Everything's fine." I'm
Mm,
like these little minute, or like you walk
right.
into a room and something's in there that wasn't there before, and I'm like, where did this come from? And he's like, Jesus, Detective Sally, like, what are you doing? You know, he's like, calm down. He's like, you're just Snoop. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And it is. I'm like, oh, that girl
She's still there.
she's still there. And she's still,
Are you mad at me?
yeah. Like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's always there. But so I can empathize and identify with that feeling of like hearing the tone in someone's voice and going, okay.
Yeah. Well, and it actually when they filmed that to put it on their website and on YouTube and stuff, and thankfully they edited out that interaction. It did make me feel bad, like, oh, it did come off nasty, my response. So
Sure.
she saved me and cut it out.
Okay. Well,
But I'm
thank
here to
you.
say I went off a little bit.
Yeah.
A
Well,
little. Just a little.
I think too, part of the placating and the playing nice so that you don't get beat up, is that you kind of, at least for me, I've ended up letting people say shitty things to me and treat me in a way that later I'm like, I can't believe that they said, and I'm mad later, but I'm like, I wish I could have just stood up for myself in that moment and set a boundary, be like, don't talk to me that way. And so I think maybe your response came out a little harsher than you wanted it to, but I think at the end of
It
the
did.
day, hopefully that it made that person think about how they interacted with you, and hopefully for you it helped you learn a little bit about yourself too, and
It
where
did.
that pain is and why it's there, and it's just an interesting, it's like when you can step back and go, okay, how do I look at this and how do I metabolize this? It's like, how do I want to be in the world? Do I want people to, and do I want to be synonymous with being like the bitchy responder, or
Right. No,
because
I don't, because that's not
right,
who I am.
right, but your safety was triggered in that moment, right? Like
It
you're
was. It will, take me back. Takes me back to the piano.
yeah.
Takes me back to the piano, working in those gay bars.
Mm-hmm.
The It's nothing but requests and playing for people, and it's a lot of reminded me of teaching, managing the room,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to be everyone's friend and the funny, jovial gay piano player that they came to New York City to have that experience.
Right.
But then there's such shitty people oftentimes that I just have to go off.
Yeah.
I have to go off.
Yeah.
But hey, do you want to hear a song?
Yeah. I would
So
love to.
okay, so you can't pay the rights, so I won't do any of my famous,
Okay.
covers.
That's
But
okay.
I did write a song
Okay.
um about, how Billy Joel wrote The Piano Man?
Yeah.
He has a song or The Piano Man.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote that as his experience as a piano bar player in New York City.
Oh my God. Okay.
So, I was
Yeah.
asked to play that song all the time, and I would say, I will, but it's $20.
Yeah.
I'm not playing The Piano Man for less than $20. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the number. Everyone wants to hear it.
Yeah.
I hated playing it.
Mm.
So I thought I'm going to make up my own. I'm going to say what it's like for me to play at the
Yeah.
piano bar. So this is my song. It's called The Night Shift because, as I
Okay.
said before, I worked from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m.
That's gross.
Very gross. Very
Oh my
gross.
gosh. Okay. I'm
And,
so excited.
I had to drink so much tequila to get through it. By the time 2020 came and the world ended, I said, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
why I never went back.
Okay.
How's the piano? Can you hear it okay? And my voice over it? Okay, this is Night Shift. She slaps the keys, she works the room, she takes the shots that keep the doom and gloom at bay. She sings the song she wants to sing unless you tip a bitch, 'cause money's everything. 7 hours of slaying, reading, past the tip hat, begging, pleading, laugh at me, applaud for me. Through the bullshit, it's unclear. Do I really belong here in NYC? I'm on the long haul, working the night shift, honey, on the night shift, working it out. And you can make it working for night shift money, honey, hold it, don't give it out. From where I sit, I've seen it all, so don't be scared to have a ball with me. Respectfully. You come for me, then I'll come for you. It's nothing personal, it's what we do. And you would too. 7 hours of being nice, while often failing, has a price your feelings pay. But if you think you could do it better, then go ahead and send a letter. I'll see you there on audition day. I'm on the long haul, working the night shift, honey, on the night shift, working it out. And you can make it working for night shift money, honey, hold it, don't give it out. Here's some advice. No piano man for less than $20. Carolina's only sweet for paying ballas. Keep your Elton John, I'm doing Grey Garden. Only bitch I sing for free is Dolly Parton. I'm working 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. I break it 1 to PP. Go upstairs and have a shot with Sherry Pie and Kiki. Hope the drunken fools at table 5 don't stay much longer. Keep the drunken babe. Excuse me. Keep the existential baby, cause I'm stronger. Like Britney, I'm stronger. 7 hours of slaying, reading, past the tip hat. I'm begging, pleading, laugh at me, applaud for me. Through the bullshit, it's all clear. I really do belong up here in NYC. Yeah, I'm on the long haul, working the night shift, honey, on the night shift, working it out. And you can make it working for night shift money, honey, hold it, don't give it out. Ooh, I'm on the night shift. It's a
Oh
wrap.
my God.
It's a wrap.
Yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Ah,
Thank you for letting me relive the old days here.
yes. Oh my gosh. That was so incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Ah,
welcome. Thank
so
you.
fun. Well, thank you again so much for being on the show and for having this conversation with me. And I just am so grateful that we've gotten to know each other
Me
today and
too.
that we're connected now. So
Maybe I'll find myself in Boise for your quilt show. I'd love to see it.
please come. It would be so much fun.
I will.
Okay. Well, we'll stay in touch.
Okay.